Good morning. Good day.
Father.
How are you?
Fine, Father.
How is that quick? Very good. Morning, Peter. How are you doing? Good. So, yeah, good morning, Kate. Yes. You know, come January 2019, it will be exactly 4 years since the United Nations approved the new development agenda called Sustainable Development Goals. Now, one place we all need to be conscious of the new development is that development agents have to change. Development agents have to become themselves conscientized about the new reality. Development as a paradigm has been changed by Agenda 2030. Meaning what? You can no longer afford to do development business as usual. Development has changed. It is no longer an issue of the business entrepreneur exploiting nature, exploiting human beings, being considered as the real agent of development. It's now a matter of getting everyone on board. Everyone meaning not only human beings, but they also involve nature. Nature is no longer that bottomless reservoir of resources where people go dip their hands and, fetch at will. No, henceforth, you have to make sure that the resource you are actually exploiting, you have to leave some for the children who will come after you. And so the development agents themselves have to be well informed. I'm sorry, but after 4 years, I'm not too sure how far our world has gone. Because the development agents themselves have not become conscious of what the new agenda is. Because the people in government themselves have not become aware of the changes that have taken place in development work. So it is critical that the agents of change are themselves changed. And that's why at JDPC, if you move around, this is a space of about, let's say, 2.5 square kilometers. If you move around, you will discover that everywhere you go, you have one of the goals exposed so that individuals can know what they are working for. So the development agents themselves have to readjust. What they have been doing before, they now have to motivate it and say which goal they are actually performing. So that's what you are having here. And you can see any of the staff, each one should be able to say which goal he is actually working on, unless the change agents are changed, SDGs will go nowhere. The first effort to make is make the change agent to adjust and change and become something else. Let them know what they are actually working on and let them be able to tell the story of the development work.
Call them.
Yes. I'm sorry, Ego. Please. Yes. I was just talking about the change agent who must change.
Good morning, Father.
Good morning. Which department are you working on? Pardon?
Human rights.
Which goal especially connects to human rights work? Out of the 17 goals.
Goal 1, that's to end poverty.
How do you link poverty to your work of human rights?
Well, definitely, it is your right to live a good life. It is a fundamental human right to live a good life. So end poverty is one of it. Education.
So when you talk about institutions about justice, which goal is that?
Goal 16.
Okay. So that should be the goal you should be focusing your attention on. Obi, Cordelia, please, you just come and let me have a chat with you. Now, you just introduce yourself to the camera. Who are you and what is your work within JDPC? Go ahead.
I am Obi Cordelia working with the Diocesan Agricultural Development Program of the JDPC, Ijebu-Ode. Well, currently I'm acting as the coordinator of the department.
Which department is it? Agriculture.
Department.
Now, we are talking about the kind of change that has taken place within the development framework. Talking about the SDGs. Talking about the SDGs. Your work in agriculture connects to which specific development goal?
Goals 1, 2, and 13. In that goal 1 is talking about poverty eradication, and then the goal 2 is talking about hunger, eradication of hunger. Now looking at goal 2 specifically, talking about eradication of hunger, Agric specifically is out to ensure that there's enough food for everybody to consume.
Is there any connection between goal 2 and goal 5?
Of course, you talk goal 5, that is the issue of gender equality.
Yes.
When you know that in most cases, women are more disadvantaged in the society, and at the same time, it is these women that produce majority of the food that is placed on our tables every day. So that interconnectivity is there in the sense that these same women that we look at, that we look down on, who are at the grassroots, are the major key players in food production.
In which way has the knowledge of SDGs changed the way you were doing the work of agriculture?
Okay. Now, when we talk about hunger eradication, or let's pick goal 13, for instance, we're talking about environmental issues, that's climate change. Now, today, the issue of climate change is no more something anybody can shy away from. And if we continue doing things the way we've been doing it previously, like the issue of farmers using inorganic substances, to improve the fertility of the soil, we know that we will end up impoverishing the soil the more. And not only that, those who slash and burn, that is bush burning, that they do with reckless abandon, is another factor that is introducing a lot of carbon in the atmosphere. And we realize that it is all these carbon oxides that constitute a lot of heat in the atmosphere. So today, we are made to understand that we should consciously, reduce most of those activities that lead to environmental degradation. Take, for instance, bush burning. Rather than burning bush, use organic materials to enrich the fertility of the soil, to at least create a microclimate, for plants to grow. And not only that, we're talking about encouraging afforestation, that is planting trees around. Since Agric is concerned with the farmers, and it is the farmers that are involved in the various aspects of production, be it afforestation or arable crop
Okay,
production.
thank you very much. You are a lawyer. Can you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Akin Aladiswa, the head of Access to Justice, the Justice Development and Peace Commission.
Now, tell me, I can see within the office there are several sustainable development goals posted all around. Is there any goal that affects the work you are doing on the JDPC as a lawyer?
In particular, that's goal 16. The one that talks about access to justice for all people, without discrimination, without their being class, that kind of thing. That's goal 16. So it talks about the people getting access to justice, that is the ordinary people, women, children, refugees, everybody together, without discrimination to anybody.
So goal 5 talks about gender. Is gender goal 5 connected to goal 16?
Of course.
How?
The fact is that all the goals, all the goals are interconnected. It's like so. like that of gender is connected because the other time I talked about access to justice to everybody without excluding anybody. That is to say, you are not excluding women, you are not excluding men, you are not excluding the disabled. So to that extent, it has also captured the gender aspect. Because when we talk about gender, we are talking about men and women collectively. So to that extent, there is a link between goal 5 and goal 16, that is the gender aspect. There is a link.
Okay, thank you very much. There comes Mr. Ijebu-Ode. Idris, introduce yourself. I understand you are a driver, but you also work on the electricity in the compound. Okay, now as a driver and someone who is dealing with electricity, do you know anything about the Sustainable Development Goals?
Yes, part of it. Goal 6.
Yes. What does Goal 6 say?
Clean water.
Clean water, yes. How do you link water to the work you are doing?
Yeah, water can generate energy.
I see you most of the time repairing bulbs, electricity, whatever. Is there any goal that deals with that issue?
Yes, it's goal 7.
Goal 7. But you are also using generators. Is it a good thing to be using generators?
Oh, we need to use wind, and it's the best way to generate. It's the best way to generate light.
Okay, why?
Because there is no
Pollution, you mean?
pollution.
Okay, thank you very much. Here comes Anolu. How are you, Anu? You've come to the office today. Good. You are the secretary to Jonapid. Chairman to Jonapid. What is Jonapid? Joint National Association of People Living with Disability. Okay, talk to me. Do you know about SDGs? Yes? Do SDG concerned with the life of people living with disability?
Exactly, sir.
How?
Everything in the SDG has to do with the betterment of the people living with disability. Because when we are talking about SDG, we cope everything together. That how to eradicate poverty, gender equality, and so forth and so on. So in SDG, there's a better life for people living with disability if it is sustained.
The SDG talk about a principle of leaving no one behind.
Exactly.
Do you feel the people living with disability have been left behind?
Since the struggle of SDG has been coming up, the inclusion has been so much, the development of the inclusion has so much appeared in the midst of the people living with disability, because since the SDG come on board, we have been seeing the inclusiveness of the people living with disability in the society.
Okay. Thank you very much. And you are having Bumi Ekunda. Can you introduce yourself?
My name is Bumi Ekunda. I work with Justice Development and Justice Commission, and I coordinate the Gender Equity and Women Empowerment Program of the organization. I'm also a legal practitioner. I'm a social worker.
So, talk to me. Do you know anything about what you think about the Sustainable Development Goals
Thank you.
and your work?
The Sustainable Development Goal, it's very apt in this period. I think it has has improved beyond the Millennium Development Goals. For my work, especially Goal 5, which talks about gender equality, and Goal 10, which talks about reducing inequalities.
Oh, that's work for me.
It's very apt. It helps to move women issues forward, especially gender. I think the Sustainable Development Goal has also influenced the passing of the Violence Against Persons Bill in Ogun State, because everything that is being done is working towards that. And the Ministry of Women Affairs has also adapted the slogan of the Sustainable Development Goal, which is leaving no one behind. I think the Sustainable Development Goal is apt. It's moving on. It's influencing.
Tell me, what's the goal you are concentrating on specifically?
I concentrate on Goal 5, which is talking about gender equality, and Goal 10, talking also about reducing inequality. But then, because it is gender, it cuts across all the goals.
Do you think the government is keen into, because in January 2019, it will be exactly 4 years, beginning the 5th year of the SDGs. Only 10 years more left. 1/3 has gone. Do you see any progress on the side of government changing to adopt the new development agenda?
Yes, even though it's very, very slow. But I wouldn't say there's no progress. There is, but very, very slow. For instance, I talked about the Violence Against Persons Bill. That was an executive bill that was passed by the government, and it is towards the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goal. You also have in areas of agriculture, areas of job employment for the youth. They are keen into it, even though the progress is very, very slow.
Okay, thank you very much. Olaita, can you introduce yourself and the work you do in JDPC?
Okay, my name is Olaita Olumide. I work with Justice Development and Peace Commission in Ijebu-Ode, and I work on the governance decks of the commission. Generally, just work on the good governance projects of JDPC. And as it relates to SDG, you all know that the hub and the core of SDG is SDGs Goal 16, which actually look at 3 things: peace, looking at peace, access to justice, and governance. Governance is key because we know at that goal, the governance, if it's achieved, it affects every aspect of the goals.
But I understand you've also been doing some work around open government partnership.
Yes.
Is there any connection between the SDGs and open government partnership?
Yes, there's a connection. One, if you look at the principle of SDG, it talks about multi-stakeholder partnership and talks about leaving no one behind. Another aspect of for the OGP also has the same principle, which is the coming together of the private sector, the public sector, and the civil society. So whatever needs to be achieved in all these 2 principles, or in all these 2 global agenda, it means that the three sectors, the main sectors, needs to come together, which is the public, the private, and the civil society.
Yeah, but then that's the addition, something that has been added by the SDGs, because the open government partnership insists on a partnership between the government and the civil society, right? Of course, one would understand that this was an agenda that was approved in 2011, while the SDGs were approved only in September 2015. In other words, the OGP might have also have informed the SDG about the gap. One of the gap was the private sector that was not included. And of course, the necessity of data, credible data, became essential if you need to have effective change. Very good, thank you very much. Florence, can you introduce yourself, please?
My name is Florence Ogunokwebe, working with JDPC CG.
What is CG?
Center for Grassroots Economic Empowerment.
What do you do in the Center for Grassroots Economic Empowerment?
The Center for Grassroots Economic Empowerment, just like the name implies, is to empower the grassroots and those who don't really have people to support them. And when we look at the grassroots and the downtrodden, we realize that mostly it's the women that are under, because mostly they are women under. So what we do is that we provide financial services to support them, and where possible link them with the formal sector.
But Goal 10 talks a lot about fighting, reducing inequalities.
Yeah.
The work you are doing, does it have anything to do with inequalities?
Yeah, because that Goal 10 and Goal 5 are kind of related too, because Goal 5 also talk about gender equality. And when you look at it too, I said we concentrate more on the women, and we realize that the women are actually the ones that are really suffering more. And in the process, by the time we have been able to lift up the women to the level they should be in the homes, in the society, it helps to reduce the issue of inequality. And based on that, when you look at what we do now, we realize that women are now having voices wherever they are. They can stand on their own. They do things that they don't even expect before. And a lot of testimonies are on it because people are just attesting that, no, with CG, I can now do this, I can train my children, I've built houses. In most places before, it is a taboo for a woman to own a land, talk less of building a house.
So
but
from
now,
economic empowerment of women to capacity to educate in Goal 4, to capacity to reduce inequality of Goal 10. Indeed. Thank you very much, Professor. Can you please introduce yourself, Professor?
My name is Ijebu-Ode.
So who are you? What do you do in JDPC?
Well, I work in JDPC under the Caritas unit, where I coordinate the issue of people living with disability in the unit.
Okay, you are coordinating the work of people living with disability within JDPC. Now, you've been doing this work and then came the SDG Agenda 2030. How does that link to people living with disability?
Yeah, when we talk about MDG then, MDG did not make any mention of the people living with disability. But when it comes to SDG, although we don't have any goals concerning people living with disability, but we have targets that really discuss about people living with disability. And there are 11 targets that are really discussed about the issue of people living with disability. And when we talk about SDG, it talk about disaggregated data. It did not lump everything together. The issue of disability was really taken care of. And when we are talking about people living with disability, when you talk about poverty, hunger, all the goals affect the people living with disability. But in JDPC, due to the advent of, before even the SDG, we have been collating the data of people living with disability, knowing their age, their occupation, and how we can create wealth for them, not even alleviating poverty, but creating wealth for the people living with disability.
Thank you very much. Let me get these people before they go. You have been beneficiaries of JDPC program, and when are you going, sir?
I'm not going to Abeokuta.
You're going to Abeokuta? No. What's happening in Abeokuta?
Because of our issue between the ABDEC.
Oh, you have a case with the suppliers of electricity.
Yes.
Now, tell me, have you ever heard about SDG, Sustainable Development Goals?
About the JDPC?
Sustainable Development Goals. I know you know about JDPC because you are inside the JDPC. Because we've said for development to change, development agents have to change themselves. The lawyer who is going with you knows about Goal 16 or SDGs, but you have been working with him for long now. You have not heard about SDGs. Do you know anything at all about SDGs? No. Good. So you see, the work has not started because these are great intellectuals. They are highly educated people. If they know nothing about SDGs, how do you want the agenda of SDGs to move forward? So the campaign for sensitization, creating awareness, letting people know about SDG, as they, the elites, don't know about SDGs. There are many people in government who do not know about SDG. 4 years after the SDGs, here we are, including those who are working for development organization like JDPC, the partners of JDPC, many of them still do not know SDG, despite the fact that if you move around this compound, you will see goals being posted everywhere. So the work has to be concentrated. We need consolidation. All over the world, each country should ask these questions. How many? What is the proportion of the population that know about Agenda 2030? Thank you very much. Bye-bye.